What's up, everybody? Welcome to another installment of the Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance Thursday night special, $10,000 Thursdays, as our boy Doc Rannigan likes to say.
Right, that's right.
We got Mr. Casey Ashmore, Mr. Doc. Oh, wait a minute. The Honorable Casey Ashmore, Doc Rannigan, and we have our friend who is a U.S. Army veteran, owns the compound at Royce City, heavily involved in the community, and an upstanding guy, love him to death. Our boy CJ over here with the compound at Royce City. So welcome, Mr. CJ. Appreciate you joining us, my friend.
Thank you, brothers.
So we always start the Thursday nights off with a little bit of thank you to the members in the RVBA, and we do a member spotlight. So tonight we are going to spotlight Mr. Ben Northcutt, who is also a U.S. Army veteran, former law enforcement officer out of Oklahoma. We won't hold that against him, but he did protect and serve. And he is your climate control and HVAC specialist and professional within the DFW Metroplex area. So if you guys need your heating work on, your AC worked on, your refrigeration, your coolers, residential and commercial, Ben is an awesome guy. And I tell you what, coming from a service industry myself and as well as Doc, if you want somebody who really, truly cares about their clients, this is your guy. And I'll give you a story. My next door neighbor was having all kinds of issues with his AC system. Ben came out and was able to work with him to get a full AC replaced for his home and totally took care of him. Two of my neighbors didn't have used him here. So he's an upstanding guy. All Care Comfort Solutions. We'll go ahead and tag him and put all the details in the comments there. But here we go.
Hey, I do before we go, Jeff, I just want to let you guys know Ben did add to his portfolio. It's called the Remy Halo, which helps sanitize your air inside of your home and inside your business. So if you guys are looking for something unique like that to keep your staff healthy during these goofy ass times, that Remy Halo is a good product to add to your AC components. Okay.
Outstanding. So with that being said, tonight we are talking about our friend, the Hulk. Everybody knows him, the big green monster. The idea behind tonight's topic is growing pains in business and how those correlate with the Hulk and the character. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to my boy Doc Rannigan real quick and get us kicked off, my friend.
So we all know the Hulk, Bruce Banner, right? We all understand that he can change at a moment's notice, and so can business, right? We can wake up one day and we got everything organized and we're ready to hit the ground running. And the next thing you know, we got 10 new clients that we need to take care of because we're growing so fast and so rapidly. And so we have to look at how the Hulk, when he transforms from Bruce to the Hulk himself, and we can take some of those characteristics and apply it to our business, right? We don't want to go through and just smash through everything. We want to be able to take a look at it and be able to grow effectively so that we're not hemorrhaging money on poor hiring skills, right? We don't want to hire poorly. We want to hire correctly. If we do hire, we want to decrease our turnover rate. So we want to be able to vet those people appropriately. There's several ways out there to be able to vet employees via background checks, reference checks, things of that nature. So growth in a small business is exciting. We can all agree to that, right?
Yes.
True.
But it's also stressful, and it can also make us angry. It can make us tiresome. It can stress us out. We can have anxiety, and oftentimes we may come home to our family. We may end up taking it out on them. So how do we, as business owners, stay calm, cool, and collective so that when we get home, we don't turn into the Hulk, right? Because we're growing so good. We're achieving all the goals. We're hitting all the bullet points. I know Jeff just mentioned that he looked at last year to date and where he is today, and he's made tremendous growth. I did the same thing, and I've hit tremendous growth. So there's been an increase in growth all over the place. And how do we handle it? How do we not neglect the people that support us? And that's our friends and family and community. And so that's what we kind of really want to dive in today. And we want to talk to CJ about that. I know he's got a company that he's getting off the ground. I think you're getting ready to open those doors to the compound. So CJ, tell us a little bit about what are you planning on doing so you don't Hulk out on your business, and that you got a good growth strategy and a good plan to be able to sustain growth?
A lot of it boils down to resiliency. And resiliency, a lot of people think, well, okay, you can weather the storm, but how do you come back to fight another battle? Well, the mindset there is being able to change at a moment's notice, like the Hulk, but being able to conform to, hey, I got new business here. Oh, I lost business here. Let's find a new way. The biggest thing that's really put our feet to the fire is this COVID-19.
Yeah.
Back in March, getting ready to start most of my training season, COVID-19 kicks down. All the doors are closed. Everyone, they have a shelter in place. No one's training. Well, what was the other option? What was the other option available to me? People started saying, hey, they want more license to carry training. They want to buy more firearms. They want more ammunition. So I took the mindset from the training side of it and put my energies into, okay, how do I make this work? There's always someone out there that you can trust and depend on. A few are flakes, but there's always someone that you can trust and depend on. The person I found that I was able to trust and depend on was another former Secret Service agent, Sam Horowitz. Maybe you've heard the name.
Yeah.
Sam, unfortunately, claim to fame was she was another Secret Service agent. She was assigned to the New York field office September 11th, when the world came crashing in the first time. Well, we teamed up, and she has an online license to carry class. And having that online license to carry class, every time I got a phone call that said, hey, there's nothing on your calendar about license to carry, we want to get our license to carry, my answer was, we're not offering license to carry classes live, but here is a link to an online class. Complete the online class. You'll get your certificate back. Send me that certificate. I then masked up, because I was masked up probably 2 weeks before everybody else was. They were looking at me like I was crazy. But once again, lifelong learning. I'd been a pandemic coordinator for the Secret Service. I took that knowledge from behind and put it in front of us. How do I keep myself safe first and foremost? Because if you don't keep yourself safe, you become the first victim. How do I safeguard my family and those around us? Well, I tell you what, since March to now, I can't tell you how many license to carry qualifications I've done, because everybody's doing everything online. And then all I have to do is get them to the range, put rounds down range, tighten up a few things that are kind of loose or askew that aren't quite right to make the person more comfortable and be able to feel more proficient with that actual use of that handgun. And it was taking a bad thing and making something better out of it. Case in point, some of you in the room have purchased either handguns and or ammunition. No one can find ammunition. It was finding a distributor who I can align with and say, hey, I've got a need. You have a supply. Let's make this work. And I tell you what, gun sales, we had a conversation the other day, Jeff and I, and no one has guns. Big box stores don't even have guns. And the thing about it is they don't have to go through the loopholes that I have to go through to get or acquire a firearm, because they get massive amounts from their headquarters and then they distribute them. Well, once again, I had to form an allegiance with someone, and that's where I'm getting my firearms. No one else has guns. So it's finding that storm, but that little ray of light, having it focus on you and using it to your betterment.
I like that. Yeah. Well, Casey, you look like the wheels are spinning over there, man. You've, I got to first off say that, a lot of we talked about our circle, being in the right room with the right people time and time and time again. If you've watched any of these, you've heard that. We all have one big circle, but we also have our own pocket circles, right? And one circle that I've seen grow tremendously is the Ashmore and Ashmore law firm. If we take a step back and look, even 16 months ago, 12 months ago, I was probably on my 5th service call adding network drops to this guy's office. You know what I mean? And he has busted at the seams. Growing pains. Casey, you got a few of them. I know you do because you're going through it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the first growing pain is learning how to not be the head file clerk, chief bottle washer, and technician on every little problem that comes along, right? And you've got to trust somebody enough to turn over some of these things that even if you're the best at it. I listened to a book a few years ago about delegating, and it was about training and delegating. And if it takes you 20 hours to train a subordinate to become a master at something you're a master at, a master craftsman,
Mhm.
it takes 20 hours to train them to do it the way you want it done and the way it's done right, competently within your confines of your business, then it's worth it because it relieves you of ever having to do that again. Right. And that was a big, hard first step for me. And, and then you're absolutely right, Jeff, like reflecting back on just the last 20 months, going from one attorney to now 5 attorneys, from 2 employees 24, 36 months ago to 10 employees.
Yeah.
And looking to, that is very difficult to even contemplate. And I remember how timid I was thinking about just adding a legal secretary to help take care of some office admin stuff, because I felt like if it was going to be done right, I needed to do it. And, yes, I can probably change the oil on my Harley Davidson that I've had for 15 years better than any tech in town. I can't change it as fast as them, but I'll do a better job because I know it's me. On the other hand, what is your time? Time is the only thing you can't get back. And you've got to, like CJ said, you've got to lean on those experiences from what you have built on, and you need to get yourself in a position where you're managing your time better and not being the technician on every little problem. And that was, I think, one of the first big steps. I've got a friend here in town named Larry Hance. He grew up here in Rockwall, Texas. His mom lived here for many, many years. She's buried here in the big cemetery on 66, and him and his family still have big ties here. But Larry was one of the first mentors I had in this business, like you guys, like CJ, who were encouraging me to take that big step, to go. That is a leap of faith, and it's a difficult one. And that's again, you're talking about in the cartoons, in the movies, Hulk, all he does is channel his anger into some positive, right? He's going to get angry about a problem. He's going to turn into this giant monster, and he's going to channel it into some positive result. So that's one lesson to take away from the Hulk. But when you're channeling the stress of growth, and then how do you turn that into a positive result? That's exactly why you need a mastermind group like this, a networking group that you can lean on of mentors and peers who are going through the exact same thing, because they will, in my opinion, the most invaluable thing about friends like CJ, Doc, Jeff, Aaron Withrow, other people in our networking group, James, who was here last week, Ben Northcutt, who we were talking about earlier, Daniel Daly, these friends of ours that they can help you see around the corners, right? That they can help you anticipate some of these problems that you need to solve, like exactly what Larry Hance was trying to tell me back when I started this company back 6 years ago. And he was, do this, do that. Here's a book that you ought to read. Don't go to the school of hard knocks, but sometimes we all got to do things our own way. But if you can learn from others, you don't spend so much time learning the lessons that others have already paved the way. So pick up on the information they have, so you can scale out and get bigger.
So if I'm tracking you right, CJ has talked to us about resilience and growing pains. You're talking to us more. You're getting through your growing pains more with education and mentorship. Doc, you and I were just talking offline about how your drug testing has picked up new and different things, and you're seeing tremendous growth there. You as well have seen the numbers that kind of made you go, "Whoa, this is a great year." Give us something to take away from what you're seeing, brother.
So the way I kind of look at it, and it's what's the one thing I can do that by doing it, everything else will become easier, right? So I got to look at the big picture and what's that one thing as a big picture. And the big picture is growth, right? That is my one thing. How do I grow? And then I need to have what's called focused questioning, right? I need to be able to focus and ask questions that will help me achieve my big picture.
Yeah.
Right. So by doing that, I take my big picture and I create a small focus on what's my one thing right now. You see what I'm saying? So if I know what I need to focus on right now to achieve the big picture, right? And that's the same thing that we're all doing, you know, Casey, CJ, yourself, we all have these big pictures and great ideas, but in order to get to the big picture, we need to focus on what's in front of us right now to be able to attain those goals, to be able to achieve that growth. And I love reading these books that help me break this down for a simple man such as myself. And I need it. What's a good? I like to use the word Barney style, right?
Yeah.
Like I need it by the freaking numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like you need a color by numbers. You know what I mean? And so that's why I read books for me. And it's called focused questioning. And I do that. I'm like, okay, so I have this new idea, and I think it's going to work. And then I talk to my my team members, right? My think tank, and I say, hey, I want to do this. And I ask people to blow holes in my ideas. Like, tell me how bad it's wrong, why it's going to fail, everything possibly that could be wrong with it.
Yeah.
Therefore, if I can find all the issues that are going to not work, I can provide solutions, right? So
I like that you're opening yourself up for that because, you know, you think about leadership, and a lot of folks think leadership is a one-way conversation. And I think you just nailed it right there, because that's a true aspect of a leader, is asking for feedback. That's huge that you do that, because, you know, you just brought something to me, because I'm growing to the point where I'm like, whoa, what's going on right here? And I'm blessed and I'm, you know, thankful and grateful. But the stepping stones to the paint by numbers, dude, that just hit me hard. I like that.
You got to have them. I mean, if not, we fall flat on our face, or we have to repeat the same mistakes as the persons that went before us. And the whole idea by having a mastermind group, by having a think tank, it's to talk to CJ and say, man, why did it fail? Because I don't want to do it. Right? And I see you rolling, CJ. What do you got, man? Hit us with some knowledge.
What I want to jump in on with that is, and I've had this throughout my military career as a team leader, as a team chief, and everything. When my folks came into me and they said, hey, I have a problem with A, I throw my hand up and stop. What's your solution that you're bringing to me? Because I don't want you to just bring me a problem. Bring me a solution. Oh, you mean I got to think too? Yeah. You're in the moment. You're experiencing it. Not only bring me the problem, but bring me a solution, and then let's talk about it. That kind of mind melding causes people to think, and it's like, oh, I knew the solution all the time. Well, as business owners, we don't know the solution all the time. We run into obstacles on a daily basis, and we have to sit back and figure out, okay, how do I work through this? Just like you said before, just like KC said, we have a group of people that we talk to, but hear me when I say this. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words.
Every time.
If I'm going to sit there and we're going to sit down and talk about something, don't just talk at me. Bring me something that I can use, and let's try to work it out. Same thing here with the family. The family is the biggest. I don't have any employees. They're my employees for the better part of it. But when we sit down and do things together, what are you thinking? I'm also developing them by saying, what's your thought? How do we solve that problem? Yeah. Oh, by doing this, this, and this. It's a win-win. I may have had taken something off of my plate because now I don't have to worry about thinking about that, but I'm also developing them. The biggest problem with business right now, and I think you guys know and you talked about, is we're working out of an office space. The plan is to build this 20,000 square foot facility. And in some ways, it's been painstakingly slow. But on the other side, nothing happens before it's time. Things are starting to ramp up and pick up, just like Jeff was talking about, to the point now I'm saying, oh, I got an email from a guy I talked to about 2 years ago that was talking finance. He couldn't do it at that time, but now he has a solution for me. So it's always being receptive to what's going on, listening to the good, the bad, and the ugly, but also remembering at the very, very least, you're the final say of what gets done. You can't sit there and say, well, you told me to do so and so and so, and it failed, so now it's your fault. No. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. But in knowing that, it's constantly being open to ideas and hearing how things can be done better.
So at what point during your growth period, and this is really a question from me to y'all, really, at what point do you start hiring people? Do you have, in one side of my brain is like, well, I don't have 40 hours worth of work every week for a full-time employee, but man, if I had a guy, I could probably sell more and fill up more of a pipeline. That's my personal battle. If we're being transparent here, which I have no problem being, that's where I'm at. I'm literally at the point where it's like, okay, I'm like Casey says, I'm the janitor, the chief bottle washer, the freaking maid. I'm doing it all. And while, you know, my shoulders are broad and I can handle it, I can't do it physically forever. It's just not possible if I want to sustain growth and build my business. So for me, if you guys can answer, and for the people that maybe has this same question, when do you hire?
Here's what I did, right? Because that was the biggest fear that I had.
Yeah.
If I hire somebody, I am now responsible for their family. So what did I do? I looked at my bills. I looked at the big picture.
Yeah.
And I started doing the focus questions. What could I cut out of my paycheck so that I can allocate it to that new employee? Do I necessarily need to keep making $5,000 a month? Absolutely not, because I know my personal bills, right? So I took a pay cut and passed it on to the new employee. Therefore, it didn't matter if I generated new business or old business because that expense was already accounted for.
Yeah.
Right? So now, but while having that new person come on, it struggled for about 6 months before they finally learned my nut job mindset of being a leader and a boss, so to speak. Right? They're with me 2 years now. I've been able to give her a pay raise. I've been able to give myself back my money, back my raise, and hire another person. So when I began to delegate effectively and put the right people in the right places, and I help other people become more successful than I am, I in turn become even more successful. It's a trickle-down effect.
It's such a scary decision though, man.
Well,
so
yeah.
I got to tell you, that is so absolutely true, and that parallels a lot of what my big fear was. When am I going to bring on my first attorney? And you know, when you bring on an attorney, you open yourself up to their legal malpractice. And if you're worth a shit in this business, you carry errors and omissions insurance, and we do. And we always have, because if somebody has a stroke, if Brad had a stroke and a case got missed and a trial got blown or some medical emergency happened, COVID, you get in a wreck in South America and you can't go to trial. You got to have something there in case something went sideways because you were injured. And so that was a big fear, but the fear is, so you got to unfold your wallet and give a little extra dollars to your errors and omissions insurance company because now you have a second attorney. Okay, well, that's not that big a deal. And at least that way you got the peace of mind that if something goes sideways, like if Doc had, you know, somebody up on the roof and that person's an employee, something went sideways on that roof job, and then there was a big problem, he knows he's got some insurance to cover it. And that takes that peace of mind. So embrace liability. That's one thing I would think about doing. right? Just embrace liability. And then it's exactly what CJ said. Things are going to unfold at the right time when they, so I'll give you an example of that, CJ, because what you said just sparked a memory of mine. Right before the COVID last fall, we were negotiating a lease on our Plano office, and we were going to go in with a very good friend, somebody I've known 20 years, and we were going to lease out this big space in this brand new build out. It's an old building, but it's a new build out in Plano. It's 3 blocks from downtown. It's right off George Bush. I mean, it's like everything was perfect about it. It's close to one of my favorite cigar shops. It's close to some really good barbecue, blah, blah, blah. We gave them the letter of intent, and then there was a negotiation about what the lease price was going to be, and did we want to be in this other space? And it's just weird. It's exactly what you said, is that things kind of unfold when they're supposed to. And that's what I would say, Jeff, or anybody else who's listening, about when do I bring on that second employee. When the time is right, you'll know it. And it's really hard to know when the time is right. So the thing about it, though, is that you got to make sure you got the right person, because you are going to be, it's like what Doc said, you're going to be responsible for another family, for food on someone's table. And, the promise of a paycheck is sacrosanct. And, it doesn't matter what vendors haven't paid you or clients haven't paid you on the 1st and the 15th. Paychecks better have their damn money, and they better get a direct deposit, or there's going to be heck to pay, if you get what I'm saying. So
I do.
But having
going to turn into a Hulk.
That person's going to Hulk out on you.
It's gonna Hulk out on you.
But you'll know, I hope, that you'll know when the time is right, because you got the right person. Whether that be like Doc hired, his first hire was a female. My first, our firm's first female attorney hire was a female. And, what you're looking for is somebody you need a farmer, right? You need somebody who's not afraid to work hard. So veterans are generally a good hire prospect, but there's a reason why Nucor built their steel factories in Omaha, outside of Omaha, Nebraska, because you can't teach hard work. No. You can find somebody who can work hard. Farmers work hard, right? They got to go milk the cows and do farm chores before 6 o'clock in the morning, and then they're going to go work the back 40, right? And that's why Nucor built their steel factories in farm country. That's why Bethlehem Steel was in farm country. And that's what you got to look for. But you'll know that feeling when you hit on it. And another real quick, and I know I've been running on a little bit, but I experimented both with 1099 contractors and employees. And I will just tell you from experience on a situation that you can get a taxable benefit gain. I'll just put it this way. The U.S. government likes it better if you're a W-2 wage and withholding employer. You get a better tax benefit, and your employee does not put you at risk for not paying their 1099 contractor taxes. Oh, wow. That's always the issue. When you got 1099 contractors, if they fail to do their own withholding, which they're supposed to do 4 times a year, January 15th, April 15th, July,
we got to pay them
every quarter, right? So June, October, January, April. They're supposed to be making quarterly payments to the IRS. And if they don't do it, which you don't want to be in that catch-22 where then you have to prove to the IRS they truly were a 1099 contractor. So I would just say, learning from experience, I think if you've got the right person, and finding the right person, again, that's the big, you're hulking up, you're scaling up. You got to make sure, so quick to hire and quick to let go. If that's not working out, yes, you are responsible for food on some family's table, but if it's not working, if they're not working in your business the way you need them to work, you got to not be beholden and afraid to cut that loose.
I was the world's worst. I hired a friend of mine, right? That's another thing. Don't hire friends, or you know what I mean? Anyways, had this guy, and he had a family, he had 4 kids, and you know what I mean? He just pulled at my heartstring. and I held on way too long, and I should have fired him way sooner than I did, and it came around and bit me in the ass. So whoever we do hire, make sure that you set those parameters and you set those policies and procedures, and you have that employee handbook that you want them to follow, and their roles and responsibility. As long as they understand what your expectations are, then that's why you're paying them this amount of money. And I'll give my W-2 employees incentives. I'm like, hey, you don't just have to be a W-2 employee. If you go out there and you sell a job, I'll give you a commission bonus on that. If you help me grow, I'll pay you for that. And so that's just that incentive that I can continue to offer. It's nothing that I'm strapped to and have to pay for, but it gives them that little bit of an edge that says there is no glass ceiling. You don't have to pay this money. You can break through the ceiling and you can make as much money as you want with me. So I try not to limit people's potential and increase their whole abilities and put value on them. I want to duplicate myself as often as possible.
Makes sense. I got a question while we're talking here.
Again.
That's what I was gonna. I want CJ. So, doing training with you, going through your classes personally, getting to know you, and calling you a great friend of mine. I know you deal with stressful situations and the growth of where you started and where you are with your professional career and with the compound Roy City. So, explain to us stamina, and because you said resiliency. Explain to us the stamina that it takes to go through tough times. I mean, your job is to
the thing about it is, I want to touch on something that Casey mentioned and also Doc. Your people are your rock, but it also takes that being able to be that mentor to train people to get them up to that level that you can step back, let them handle something, and say, hey, you need me, I'm here, but then have the trust in them to do it.
Yeah.
With this whole build-up and this stamina that we're talking about, I've had many people come through our trainings, and I hold everyone to the same level that I expect me to perform at. I'm not going to ask them to do something that I know that I can't do. I've had two people come through. One was a Navy gal. We brought her over to the Band of Brothers one day. She's a little firecracker. But guess what? Business petered off, and I had to say, hey, go do something else. When we get this thing back up and it's running, you'll run my shop. I got another vet, Army type, former captain, Afghan, cannon cocker, the whole 9 yards. I've trained this guy. He came in one day for a pistol class. I talked him into an instructor class. I've continued to build. Now when I put on a class, I say, hey, the class is there. It's your class. You teach it. You mean you trust me to do that? Yeah, because I know from whence you've came. I know where you are, and I know where you can get to. It's about constantly putting in the time, because not all things are going to work out the way you expect them to. But if you plan, and you plan for those shortcomings that pop up here, there, and everywhere, you navigate them. You work your way around them, but you got to stick to it. It's not a, oh, woe is me, the Eeyore principle. Oh, woe is me. No. Pick your head up. Keep on driving forward. The one thing that I pride myself on is I don't know failure. And it's kind of hard to say, and some people, that's pompous. So you got to know failure. I know shortcomings, but I don't know failure, because I turn those shortcomings into an advantage. I take advantage of them and I push forward. The biggest thing that I've had to defend with my business plan in putting this place on the ground is, well, you have a hierarchy of who you're going to hire. Isn't that prejudicial? What do you mean? Well, you say your first person that you're going to hire is a vet. Kind of smart. I get benefits for hiring a vet. I get the benefit of, in most cases, somebody that's going to do the job beyond the time that the job needs to be done, because that's something that's been instilled in them.
Yeah.
I look at my active duty and my retired law enforcement, or my first responders, because we teach first responder classes also. It's about finding the niche, putting someone in that niche, asking them to perform, lighting that fire under them to make sure. And in some cases, you got to say, you know what? It's not quite working out. Thank you so much. But it's always about getting the job done. It's not about sitting back and going, okay, well, that didn't go well. What do I do now? No. It's calling Doc and saying, hey, I got this problem. Hey, Jeff, I got this problem. Hey, do you know of someone else that needs these skills or needs what we're offering? Because the word of mouth in our network is what really, really helps carry most of us.
Yeah.
And a good word goes very, very far. Bad word, or hey, I wouldn't have this person do X, Y, Z for me because, you listen to that and you're like, okay, well, what are you talking about? And then you make your determination. Do you want to go down that road with that person, or do you want to go another way? And that's always your opportunity. That's always your option to go either way.
I dig it.
So as I was sitting here, I was kind of thumbing through a book that I kind of read and kind of refer to, and this kind of points towards you, Jeff. It kind of made me think of you. Even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there. You know what I'm saying? That's deep. So if you're on the right track to success, and you decide to sit down and say, I'm doing everything right, you're going to get run over. So if you already know the next steps in your big picture, but you decide not to take that next step because you're afraid, or you don't know if it's the right time, or if you don't have, if God didn't put a lightning bolt down your ass and say it's time to do it. Like if you're looking for something like that, you will never, ever, ever see it. You'll never get it. And I'm talking to everybody out there. Anytime I made a decision, I never had a sign. I just did it. I jumped full throttle, both feet in the deep end, and said, I'm going to sink or swim, because at the end of the day, I can always go back to just being me and running a business, right? I can always downsize and come back to little old me and making what I want to make and being happy. But if I want true greatness and I want true success, I got to take those calculated risks. I got to understand my big picture, and I can't be afraid to do it. It's either now or not, right? What's that old cliche? Shit, I get off the pot. Yeah. So if you're already thinking about hiring, then you need to hire. You need to look at your budget, and you need to say, well, I want to pay this guy $2,500 a month. 25 times 12 is going to equal X amount of dollars. It's $50,000 a year. Fine. I need to stash away at least $25,000, whatever the case may be, or I need to do 10 more sales this year, whatever the case is, to account for that new expense, But there's always, like he says, or CJ stated, there's benefits to having that, or KC, there's benefits to having that W-2, right? We need those expenses for growth so that our taxes aren't so bad and this isn't so bad, and we can focus our energy on growing the company and generating more business. So,
well, let me touch on that real quick too, because a contractor is like a taxi cab, like the old school. Why are the taxis going away? Because Uber and Lyft are kicking their ass, right? Because you get a nicer ride. I remember I got, a business trip. I'm in Vegas. I waited an hour in 130-degree heat to get in a taxi cab that used to be a police car with 800,000 miles with a puke-proof back seat. And I'm riding down to the courthouse in that shit box. Okay. Now I get on my phone and I'm like, I want an Uber Black with the air conditioner set at 68 degrees because I'm more bougie than the other bougie motherfucker in the Lyft line. That business model died, and it needed to die. But here's the thing about a taxi cab. When you have a contractor and they're on the clock, it's like being in a taxi cab. And you might get the most attention. Now, I will tell you another thing. There was a cab company in Houston, Texas, and they prided themselves on customer service. And I think they're gone now, or they got gobbled up, but it was Liberty Cab. And it was, everybody rides for the same price. The cars are clean. They got clean vinyl. There's no trash inside of them. And the drivers were very courteous, and they would help you with your luggage. And that was all for the same price as the yellow cab company that was, just a joke. Well, the high end customer service cab company, Lyft, Uber, that has gobbled up that old crappy business model. But the thing about it is, when you get in a cab, you're on the clock, and you might be in that yellow cab from Las Vegas that I was telling you about with your 1099 contractor. It might be one of those. It might be that kind of a cab, and it might be the Liberty cab from Houston, Texas, circa 1990s. And, you know, where they're really pushing to get your business. They want every phone call to come to them because they don't come first in the yellow pages, and they don't come first in Google and this, that, and the other. They're a new and up and comer. So they're working really hard to wow you. And that's the thing about a 1099 contractor. You don't know what are you getting? So
yeah.
when somebody's on salary and they are incentivized with commissions and bonuses, in my experience as a business owner, especially if you're terrified of growth, I always wanted incentives as an employee more than I ever wanted salary. I wanted incentives. You give me X of what I bring in and collect for the company, and don't put a cap on what I can earn. Give me an opportunity, not a salary. Don't give me slow and steady. Give me an opportunity. And that's, of course, again, you got to find those farmers, right? You got to be like Nucor. You got to be looking for those people who are going to milk the cows, do all the farm chores, feed the chickens, and then go work the back 40. But when you find them, you're going to get a better opportunity for them. Because think about it. If you incentivize an employee with no cap on their bonus structure, as opposed to, here's a 1099 contractor, I got to have so many dollars an hour. And, you know, how many hours of those are genuine hustle and grind being put in such that it would satisfy you as a business owner? Well, that's hard to say. It's hard to figure that metric out. And I would just say, in my experience, if you're going to be the sacrosanct relationship of I owe you a paycheck, incentivized paychecks work out better for both sides. And then, of course, there's the tax benefit to both parties. You're making sure that person has, at a minimum, short-term Social Security disability. A lot of people don't think about this. Short-term Social Security disability will pay you up to 40% of what you made last year. But if you're a 1099 contractor and you're half-ass phoning in your quarterly payments, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get what you paid in. You're giving by eating that 7% of that income to you. You're giving that person so much more because you're giving them long-term and short-term Social Security disability. You're giving them Social Security payouts when they reach the age of 72, or probably be 78 when we get up there, or I'll get up there a little quicker than you.
You're a couple of years away from it, right?
Yeah. I'm like that. Like that's the day before yesterday for me, right? So
I get it, and I don't mean
you were giving a whole lot more benefit, and look. Thank God we don't get all the government we pay for, especially in this day and age. But you give your employee so much more than you can give a contractor. And I think you can put that in a position where you're not in that crappy taxi cab from Vegas circa 2004. You know, it might have been, it might have just been a murder scene that was hosed out, and then you're in it riding around. And are you getting a good deal or not? Well, hell, I don't know.
Well, I do have an experience with having a technician that was working for me as a 1099, and it was going really well, and it was trending in the right direction. And then the guy just went ghost on me. So, let me know. I'm not scared of growth. I started my business to grow, and I put myself in a position to grow. So I appreciate your input because it does help solidify some things. I think the biggest thing I just took away from all of this was, if I'm going to sit on the track, I'm going to get my ass ran over. So that's a deep. That hit me good there. So, going back in time to when we started doing these, we've seen growth in our Thursday night sessions. We've seen growth in the Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance. We've seen growth in the members. Tell me, open discussion here. What's one thing, as we're tightening in on 45 minutes here, one thing that you would like to leave with the guests and the listeners that are watching this and listening to it, CJ, what's one big nugget that you would say? I think he's frozen. There he is. CJ, you still with us?
He's muted.
Hey, CJ, you're muted,
Unmute
bro.
yourself.
Hey, let me tell you, while CJ is working out his mute problem, I'm going to
I got to repeat that whole thing all over again?
Yeah, you do. But hey, I gotta throw some love and pride to our American Legion brother. He has been a first responder since he was a teenager. I remember years ago meeting him for the very first time, and he was telling a story about walking through his hometown and encountering somebody who was having a heart attack. And I mean, if it weren't for CJ encountering that man at that moment, it changed his life forever, but it changed that guy's life forever. That guy might not have made it up the stairway from the subway to first aid. And this was just a young boy on his way probably to school, or if he was like me, goofing off with his friends, skateboarding, whatever. But, again, what a profound change. And, it's really an honor to have you here, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And that's where that lifetime of service comes from. That was as a 13-year-old boy in New York City. Yeah, I'm going to go there. Black male encountering a white male dressed in a nice suit with his suit coming up the steps of the subway and going down like a ton of bricks. Everybody else sat there and laughed. Check. Man wasn't drunk. Man had a heart attack. And here I am ripping off clothes so I can do CPR. And then the first people that show up are the police. And I'm in the moment. So it's like, what are you doing? He had a heart attack. I'm giving CPR. It's like, wow. They didn't do anything. They pushed everybody back. And then the fire department showed up, and it's like they took over. So, yeah. And then the only problem with that one, KC, is I don't think I told the rest of the story. I got a ride to high school in the back of the police car. We pull up in front of the high school. The security guards they had out there run in and get the principal comes out and greets me as I'm getting out of the back of the police car. So you guess what he thought, that I'd gotten locked up for doing something wrong. But anyway.
He probably thought you were hanging out with me.
Not in New York.
He was like, you were hanging out with Ashmore. Ashmore always gets dropped off in police cars.
A lifetime of service, and that's what comes down to this business. And answering your question, Jeff. Yeah, it's a tactical training facility. Yeah, it's going to make money. But you know what? I'm going to be able to provide an income for my employees. And outside that, I'm going to be able to provide a safe haven for our customers to come and acquire the skills that they need to take care of themselves, their families, and those around them if they choose. It's about delivering a product that I'm proud of, about a product that's tried and true, about a product that can always be improved, about a product that can give back to our law enforcement and our EMS, firefighter, first responders to help make them safe so that they can come out and do what they do to keep us safe, and most importantly, to go home to their families at night.
Absolutely.
Having worn the uniform first, Army, or having worn a police uniform, Arlington County PD in Virginia, and then finishing off in plain clothes, because I tell you what, plain clothes is a lot nicer, but it's always trials and tribulations. You deal with people every day, all different walks of life. I can sit there and I can go through the color spectrum, black, brown, yellow, pink, blue, whatever. People are people. But the bottom line, they all common needs. And we as business owners need to cater to those needs to be able to have them turn around and come back. And I led off into this dissertation is our members, the RBVA, the Band of Brothers, everyone that we're associated to, that's where the referrals come from. They know, like you mentioned before, Ben Northcutt, hey, AC. Now I know I got another AC guy. I know who my AV guy is because he's the one that made it possible to safeguard my family by putting up some additional cameras that I can track right here on my phone anywhere that I'm at. Yeah, that's my pretty star right there. Doc, God forbid if I need a roof, I know where you are. We always got the good old Aaron Withrow. If he's not even working, he's always good for a laugh. You got Casey there. The bottom line is it's people that you can trust, and that's what we bring to the equation. I'm not saying that these other businesses in the area are not trustworthy, but you can always trust the vet because they've given you, or they've already put on the line, the biggest sacrifice they could ever make for anyone else, their life to keep this country safe and free. And people take that for granted nowadays. It's the entitlement, it's me, what's in it for me? No. What have you brought to the table?
Absolutely.
What have you done for somebody else other than yourself? And we live that every day. We live that every day. We lived it in uniform, and we continue to deliver it now by delivering what we do to the general public. That's what sets us apart. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us stronger.
Yeah.
And that's how we grow together, right? I mean, you're talking about the affiliations we have with one another and some of the different, Band of Brothers and Legion and some of the things. And, the idea behind what we do with the RVBA is strictly about what we're talking about tonight, right? It's to provide a value, to provide an organization that's full of value to help each other grow. I mean, we got 50 plus members that are a part of the RVBA, that our whole mission with everything we do, we spend an hour every week here, but this is all only what you guys see on Facebook. Casey and Doc and I, man, we're on a day to day. We're almost like, boyfriend and girlfriends. We're like talking all day.
And I got big hands, so here you go.
Oh man! So hey, Doc, leave us with
the big thing that comes down though is trust.
Yeah,
trust is for me the defining factor in everything and everyone. It defines who we are and what we do. If you lose trust in something or a situation or someone, you're not likely to want to give up everything to do for that person or thing. But the bottom line is keeping your heart pure and taking care of your own. And that's what we do in our BVA. That's what I believe. Absolutely. And anything you guys know, I say this all the time. Don't ask me a question you don't want an answer to, number one, because number two, I'm going to give you the straight poop and I'm going to be there when you need it in good time and bad. You can't say that about many people, but I know about our small circle, who we are, and we continue to grow on a daily basis. We got good people that stick to that, and you can depend on them at any time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, CJ. We can't thank you enough for popping on here again today, this evening, taking time out of your schedule. We're going to tie this all back into the Hulk. You hit the nail on the head when you said that what we do is we lead from the front. We jump in when the shit's getting tough. You know what I mean? And that's what the Hulk is all about. He's willing to sacrifice his body to be able to save as many people as he can for the greater good. And that's how you should be treating your business. You need to be able to sacrifice whatever you need to for the greater good of your business. And it's scary. You'll run it into a flaming building. You know what I mean? That's just an analogy. Don't do that unless you're a fireman, okay?
Yeah.
That being said, that's the idea. That's the mindset we have to have as a business owner, is be willing to be able to run in the face of chaos in a Hulk format to be able to achieve the goals that we want. So we have big picture, and we need to be able to focus on what can we do right now to be able to attain our big picture. So any closing remarks? 7:00.
Casey, got 2 minutes.
Okay, look.
Oh shit! You opened that can of worms. 2 minutes. Ain't gonna happen.
Oh man, you got 5.
You have got to take action, and not a little bit of action. I'm a big believer in, I'm a fan of Grant Cardone, and love him or hate him, I don't care. Gary Vaynerchuk. All those guys are students of the late, great, right here from North Texas, Dallas, Texas, Zig Ziglar. And Zig Ziglar was a guy who believed in getting up early. He learned that in the Navy in World War II. Get up and get after it. You need to be working while other people are dreaming. If the 4 to 8 watch doesn't work for you, that works for me. A lot of people hate that fucking watch. I loved it. But, you know, a lot of people hate that watch. If that doesn't work for you, the 8 to midnight is a good watch. You don't need to be streaming it on Netflix. You need to be working on your business. Okay, give that mental space. Enjoy that time with the family. But the kids go to bed. The wife goes to bed 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever. You've got an hour and a half there. You can be working on your business. Get up in the morning and work. Find those free throws in your life to where you can Hulk out, right? To where you can direct that energy into something positive to help your business grow. And when you work on your business all day, you got to go to the gym, you got to play with your children. Sometimes you got to homeschool your children. Where are you going to find this extra time? You got to get up early and get after it, or you got to stay up late and get after it. Maybe you got to do both, but get after it. Get busy.
Straight and to the point. I love it. I love it.
That's good. I mean, I think this was a great episode. I think we had a lot of great content. We look forward to you guys tuning in next Thursday and every Thursday after that. We will not stop. No matter how busy we get, we will take our moment and hop on here for an hour. Just even if we help one, that's all we're looking for, is to help take that one person to be able to change his mindset, to be able to go from I think I can to I can. Cool?
I love it. Hey, and then we'll go right here with this. Remember the Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance. We're not just a group of veterans. We are a veteran and patriot-centric organization. We're looking to help whoever's interested in what we're doing to grow. And by growing together, we grow as a whole, individually as well. And I've said this time and time again, we get a lot more out of this than you guys probably imagine. But we're here for you. If you got any messages, any feedback, shoot us a message on Facebook. CJ, thanks again, brother. I really appreciate you taking time out. Same with you guys. And we're going to end $10,000 Thursday and go be with our family and work on our business. Go kill it. Tomorrow's Friday.
Going to concert on the lake. Come up. Concert on the lake. Come on, it's the last night.
Peace.
Whatever. it ain't just kind of music. I get it.
You want me to get over there and get that gas mask, NBC mask? Yeah, okay. I'll see you.
Don't worry. I know
smart,
a guy.
Y'all. Be smart.
I know a guy that tests for COVID. I think I'm okay.
Yeah. Hey, well, y'all go be safe. Kill it.
Hulk smash.
Have a good one, boys. Thank you so much.
Later.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Be safe, y'all.